Hey everybody, Brian from Marine Detail Supply Company, Port Clinton here. Just making a video with my customer today, doing his Larson. So we're actually going to be showing you how to ceramic coat today. So we're going to make this a quick video. I know that's tough to do, but we've already went through and wiped the surface prep on the boat. So the surface prep's from Starke. That just removes any impurities, greases, oils, anything like that after compounding. So you want to wipe it down, and then it pretty much just evaporates. It's like there's alcohol or something in there. So that's pretty nice. Quick, easy wipe down. So you want to do that after any compounding, like I said, and then you'll be ready to put the triple P on. So it's actually one of the old original bottles. I love this old bottle, but same as the new ones, same product. You're going to use a polish pad and just like a short throw polisher, Bauer. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just something that orbits. And then you're going to put 4 pea-sized drops on your polisher. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to dab it out over about a 3-foot section to about 4. So that way you can, when you're working on it, your product's able and your pad's able to go ahead and gather more product. With this product, you're not looking to put it on super thick. We put it on really thick here just to show you of what consistency you're really not looking for. So we don't want it on there to the point where it's all smeary and kind of greasy. We want like a foggy haze, and we're going to show you how we do that here. And it's with 2 checkerboards. So the first checkerboard, it's at a medium rate speed, just enough for the orbiting to keep going so it doesn't stall. And then on our second pass, after our first checkerboard, we're going to do our second one and go ahead and turn it up just a little bit more. So this triple P can come through there and remove any holograms, swirls, scratches, or anything like that that may happen in compounding. So it's like the ultimate refinement prior to coating, and it's also a prep polish for coating, meaning like it's an A and B primer. So you put it on there, and then you have 24 hours to coat that surface. So today we're going to be coating this boat. So the port side's already been surface prepped, triple P'd, so she's ready to coat. We're just over here prepping the starboard side, or the port side, sorry, and getting that ready so we can just come over here and get it going. But the product's got to sit on your boat for at least 30 minutes. But by the time you get done polishing, 30 minutes has already elapsed. So, but again, we're going to show you the polish method on here. I'm just starting on a speed setting like 2.5 to a 3. And if you notice there, it's not really spinning. I'm not putting much pressure, it's just not enough power. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up a little bit more. Now we're at a 4, and we got good orbit. So we wanna make sure we're just going up. And we're almost doing like these little worms. And then we're going horizontal. Where we'll increase the speed a little bit. So again, nothing, and if you have like a big runoff here, just make sure you just run it back through with your polisher. It likes to do that when you pull it off the boat, so run it down and then turn your machine off, you're always really going to have that extra saturation. This pad has been used a lot today, so we really have enough on this pad to run a lot more sections. So if you ever use too much product, just know you can always continue to spread it out on your boat. So it's not a waste of product. It's just, again, we have enough to do the rest of, probably half this boat with just how saturated the pad is. Now, if you have a brand new pad, you're going to want to put more than 4 pea-sized drops on there initially. And that's where our problem, not our problem, but our saturation is happening here, because in our prime, we put a little bit too much. And a little bit too much will cause it to, not have even sections. So it's pretty adamant that you put, about 8 to 10 pea-sized drops on there. And I like to just feather it into my foam pad. And that way get into all the little nooks and crannies of the pad, and that way I'm not hitting a dry spot, making it potentially hotter in an area, right? So we're gonna go do the second section. Again, I'll do the first one on low as long as it's orbiting. You see we still have our polish all the way down here too. Continue to spread it. There's really no wrong here. It's just get the triple P on and get the triple P off. If it's on there too thick, you'll know. It'll just take a little bit longer to wipe off. So it's not a bad thing. It won't hurt the boat. It'll only just make your job a little bit longer. So you'll find that sweet consistency, and it'll just take a little bit of time. But you're really looking for that foggy haze. You're not looking for, again, like that. Just more, again, something smiley face consistency. You're not looking for a caulky consistency like it all the way gone or anything like that. Because then at that point we're generating too much heat. So since this is a video, we're gonna act like 30 minutes has elapsed in this time frame, but by that time it also gives the triple P time to dry. So the wipe off's going to be a lot easier. But when you're going to wipe this stuff off, you really want to put your towel into force, and then put your hand in a swearing in kind of position. That way you're not showing your spider webs, we call it, and then you could really see your impressions on your gel coating areas, or you could. So we leave that variable out of there, and then we only go vertical or horizontal on our wipe off. That way, if there is some sort of circle error, we know it's being caused from our machine and not from our wipe off. So just less variables, and especially coating and detailing in general, the best, I feel. So that's definitely helped me out a lot. But you can see it's not hard to get this off. And again, it's even easier after you really allow 30 minutes to go by. So wiping here, you can see, yeah, we could get it off, but it's a real big smear game, as you can see, So whoever's taking it off or following you, they're gonna let you know real quick they're not happy with that. So just go ahead, or maybe they don't know. So again, just make sure you're using a good amount, but not too much, So, so that's the prep phase of it. So and then we'll show you this side over here, where we already have gone through, and the boat's been compounded, polished, it's been coated, or it's been surface prepped. So she's been triple P'd already, so she's ready to go. So we're using Starke's Liquid Kraken. So it's a graphene coating. It's very, very strong, high durability, super high gloss on it too. So one of my favorite coatings from Starke, if not my favorite coating from Starke. There's a lot of graphene in this bottle, so you'd want to shake it up really good. And you'll see that black will eventually get off the bottom of the bottle, and then you'll end up with a clear bottom. So once you have your clear bottom, then you just want to let your coating bottle sit there, and you'll see your bubbles will start to recede, and they're going to come down. That's just letting all the carrying agents, all the VOCs, everything in there, all moving around, letting everything work together. Because this whole system's a big part A, part B. So you don't have to wait for all the bubbles to go out, but I do in a, again, this being a training too, we don't really have the luxury of sitting here waiting a good 10 minutes. But if you have 10 minutes, it's not going to hurt it, but 10 minutes would definitely pull all the bubbles down. I've never had any problem with the bubbles, because I noticed when I just pull it like that, the bubbles go back down to the bottom. So again, I've never had an issue. And then just moving it every single time, it creates bubbles. So if you're looking for a bubble-free thing, really don't shoot for that. Just again, just give it a minute just to kind of settle down. But just shaking it up, that way it gets it nice and activated. So, and then once we pull this top of the coating off, now it's exposed to air. So as soon as we pull the top off, we're ready to coat. So you want your gloves on, you want to set a timer. On a boat like this with Kraken, we're in a good climate controlled garage. We're in 68 degree weather here up in Ohio. 68 degree garage weather here in Ohio. It's a little colder than that, but so we're noticing that 5 minutes is our best takeoff time. Takeoff time meaning removing the excess coating that this bottle didn't want, or the coating didn't want because the pores are already full. So it's one of those where in your drag, your resistance on the towel, you'll feel it. It'll feel like you're taking cement off if you let it sit on there too long, and it'll feel like you're taking nothing off if you don't let it sit on there long enough. So it's very adamant you let a good proper time go by, but you could dial it in. If it's coming off too easy, go ahead and add your timer up to 6 minutes. And if it's coming off too hard, go ahead and reduce your timer down to 3 minutes. So everybody's got different climates, whether what part you're at in the country or even out of the country. So again, and as you see, I put the top back on the bottle. So I really like to do that, so it just keeps the air from entering into that bottle. So it's so it does not prematurely curing these agents that are inside of the ceramic. So and then once we have it open, we're going to go ahead and prime the pad. We call it prime the applicating pad. So we're just going to start with our drops here. We're not looking to put a little bit here. We're looking to put a little bit more than usual because, again, we're priming the pad, so we're getting it ready for its initial application. So it's going to, if any amount, this is going to be the most in the whole entire process is your first prime. But again, I'll go right back and I'll put my cap on my bottle. That way I just stop any of that entering, any of that oxygen. So then I'll do the taco, we call it. So I'll go ahead and grab all the corners and then taco it together. So once it's a good taco, and then I got a nice, good even wet texture there, especially on the prime. Ooh, that was a close one. We've got a couple close ones on this one. And then I'll come through there and just drop a little bit more. And that's just to ensure any other dry area on the applicator is covered. But again, still, we have barely used any at all. This bottle right here will do a 40-foot vessel, smooth surface, and it goes a long way. So that's mainly what I hear, other than it's amazing in the gloss and durability, is just how long it goes. So when I'm putting the coating on, normally it's, in normal practice, it's like 2-foot sections. And then you set your timer, do your 2-foot section, kind of sit back, see the bubbling and stuff. We'll talk about that. But on the Kraken, I really like to do bigger sections because it's so forgiving. Forgiving meaning like playtime. Playtime meaning like work time that you have to work with it before it comes to like cement or something like that. So, but again, we're not looking for a cementy consistency. So there is a point where you got to kind of draw the line of how far you want to make your areas. And while doing this, you're going to have to also reprime the pad too. So, but I'll show you how to do that here in the video, and it's really not hard to do, and it's just kind of move back game, put a little bit more product on. We'll show you here. So we're going to start here on the rear quarter. We're just going to put a dab there, a dab here, and a dab here. We even put one down here. So I do that so I'm not starting off with such a thick coating pad, right? And that's when you'll just go to start it and you'll first start wiping it on there and you'll notice you have so much product, right? So I really, over the years, I found out just putting about 4 smudges of excess product really helps the first pressure push down on the applicator. So I'll go ahead and start at my corner and then I'm just painting it on. So right now I'm just doing horizontal. And I'm just doing arm's reach. So however tall you are, however short you are, again, you're just going to do the same amount. So that way it feels right to you. And you can use tape as reference points. That's always nice to do. You put a piece of tape here, and then you can put a piece of tape down below. So when you have the tape there and down below as well, then you can see the areas, and you're not having to constantly move your head up and down. So you'll see here where we're going to do these little worms, or like a checkerboard pattern. That way it's just going to ensure that we cover all the section. This little drip edge under here, we really like to curve that applicator and just have it ride right underneath that edge. It'll help really put the product into there. So again, we're just going to keep rolling with this. We set our timer, so that's going now. We haven't set our timer. We were going to set our timer when we're done applying it here. You'll see. But it's one of those where, again, the cracking is super forgiving. I like to set the timer once it's applied. So even this applied back here, I'm going to go do another section on it. Now we have our extra coating here. I'm going to come back and grab that and use the rest of it. But while doing that, I'll have the bottle in my hand and ready to go for my next section. So again, we'll come up, do our checkerboard. So now we got a nice even, come up there, do the channel, come down here. Now if you start to see the coating applicator binding like this, see how it's like picking up in the corners? That means you know it's pretty dry. So we're gonna go ahead and put some more product on. And then we're going to taco it again. So we'll go ahead and put our product back, put our lid on there. And again, as you can see, we have not used much coating at all. I've measured it out with plastic syringes for medicine measurement and stuff like that to really see how much coating each side's taking. Usually away from dock side, it's more oxidized than anything, and uses more compound and more just restoration in general, so that usually seems to eat the most amount of coating. But a normal haul side like this will take about 10 mils of coating to 15. So even up to here, I'm still feel comfortable with the applicator. We're not binding, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to run my sections. On a boat, what size is this, Mr. Petty?
24.
24 foot. So in this whole span, we've already did a pretty good, what would you say?
9-10 feet.
Yeah, but good 10-foot section. So, you know, at 10 foot, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves, but I feel comfortable with 10-foot sections on them. And the product comes off really good and easy. And then we could turn like a 24-foot boat into, again, just a really 2 to 3 sections. So instead of 2 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot. So it really speeds up the process. And while you're down there, you just want to go ahead and do your boot stripe. And the main thing about coating is don't overthink it. That's what a lot of people do. Overthink it. Really, they just overthink it to the point where they don't want to do it anymore or don't even want to attempt it. So don't let that be yourself either, because this coating is very forgiving. Even if you were to miss a spot or anything like that, when you go to wipe it, generally, even with the towels we'll show you, you'll still be able to spread the coating into the missed spot. If you put a smiley face into the boat, you're not going to see it. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of like scare tactics out there, and I'm not saying they're bad, but they're mainly just from just the interwebs, you know, just like really trying to scare do-it-yourselfers away from that. Maybe try to push them more to just going with just the professionals. This is not saying that, you know, professionals can't do a better job. It's just do-it-yourselfers can do this ceramic. It's not hard. The prep to get it here is hard, but the ceramic in general is not hard. You don't see us running around here. Again, it's a very easy process and just very overthought, very easily overthought. So this is our number 1 towel and our number 2 towel. So these will be the stars of the show. This one's going to be the one that goes first, because this one's going to have the most access product that the pores are rejecting out because they're full. They're literally just telling us like, hey, we don't want any more coating, no more. And you could see if you zoom in really, really close here, if we get down a little bit lower, you could see it bubbling and rainbowing. Now when it's doing that, it's telling the pores, again, like I said, nope, we don't want it anymore, and it's rejecting it out of there. So that's really what you're looking for. You could see the farther we go down, it's not going to be as bubbly as our first section. So you really want to look for that bubble on Kraken, and I like that. And it's one of those where again, you will see the bubbles a lot faster than than at your 5-minute window. So just because you see it bubbles and everything, don't just start wiping. Just let your 5 minutes go by. We've let our timer already start since we did our 10-minute section. But at our 10-minute section, that's when we started our timer. So we're allowing this right now just to set up. So this is setting up. So, but we're gonna start wiping, removing the excess from the back, obviously, because that's where we started. So that's gonna be our go-to area, because that has had a good lot more time than obviously our area up front. So. And then I'll grab my first towel and I'll really put it in 4s here, and then I'll put my fingers in like a square end position. That way I'm not doing like a spider web and potentially like seeing that. But even if you did that, it wouldn't hurt it. It's just something we do. And then we only go vertically and we only go horizontally. And we make sure to stay out of the bottom pane or anything like that, because we don't want any potential contaminants maybe going into the into the surface. So again, we're no tags on the towels either. These are just Costco towels. 350 GSM, they're really good. We sell towels too as well, but again, just anything over 350 GSM. The higher plush towel you go with, the less towels you're going to have to use, because they're going to gather more coating with your fiber. So we're going to go ahead here and feel our resistancy. So I feel a light pull there, like I'm taking like a wax off. So that's really what I want. As you can see here, I mean, just wiping my hand and it's gliding off. So is it coming off too easy? No, it's got some drag to it, so that's what I like, but it's not like cement drag or a caulk drag or something like that. So that's when you know you're at that real happy consistency. And that happy flash rate, we call it. So we'll just keep, and we use our first towel, real light pressure. We're not laying into it. And again, it's just swearing in and going either vertically, and then we'll come by and do it horizontally. That way, if we miss anything, we're gonna pick it back up on the up or on the cross. So with this towel too, that's just one side. Now we got, again, 8 more sides to utilize on that. But with the first towel, I really like to, again, allow this still to set up. So I'm, sitting here kind of massaging this in a sense. And then I'm just lightly rubbing this area. And this is, again, just moving any more coating off that's, again, just rejecting from the pores because they're full. Saying, hey, I don't want any more. But with that, say if you did miss an area, you would go ahead and spread that coating into the area that you missed. So again, it's very, very forgiving. I just have a lot of my customers right now trying to coat their boats, and they're like, Brian, I need you to come out there. I'm like, I will, but you really don't. We'll show you here in the video why. But back in the day, the coatings used to be really hard to use. Like when they first came out, it was harder to find a good coating than a bad coating. And now it's harder to find a bad coating than a good coating. So again, the industry is definitely changing, but we always change with it and use the best products moving forward. So we just always like to show you that. So that'll be our number 1 towel. That's going to be the heaviest towel, we call it. That's going to have the most access product on there. So this is going to be our first towel to go into the trash. Now, this is not something we want to save, not even for a shop towel, because it'll have liquid ceramic in there, just glass. So, we don't want, anybody potentially get hurt or anything like that. So we just want to toss that in the trash. And then we're grabbing our number 2 towel. So our number 2 towel That's just to ensure we don't miss anything, and we're doing a little bit more pressure with this one. So this one's medium pressure. And then again, we're just working our same areas horizontally and vertically. And then we're just wiping it off. So this is just in case we miss something. You're getting about 80% off with your first towel, and then your second towel, you're getting the other 20% off. And then you're really just flipping through your towel after that to make sure you don't leave anything on. You can use a light for this too, like a tracer light, and it really helps to like see something. But the coating on especially like a dark colored hull, even the white, you can see because it'll change the color of the boat. So you can probably pick it up in video pretty good, our line here. But it's one of those things where it makes a distinctive difference once you put a layer of coating on. So there we go. We're only on our first towel wipe there. So we'll go ahead and open up our towel, get to our next clean section. Just come through there, wipe all that off. So these corners too, I'll come back and I'll make sure that, because with the coating, especially forward and backwards, you always notice you'll push it forward or backwards. So you want to just take your towel and make sure you're removing any excess that could have maybe went back here. Now we still have to prep this area for ceramic and everything, but right now, so I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world, but say this was nice and you did put a little bit of ceramic over there, you know, you just want to go ahead and wipe that off. But we're still prepping this area, so it's not really a big deal. But again, it's something that you always want to look for in coating. And again, not having your towel like fall down and get into bottom paint and then go back up. So it's really good to keep your towel again into fours. That way you can have control of your towel and really have that maneuverability with it. But you can see there, and especially night and day difference in that section too, of what we've coated and what we haven't coated. So again, there's no reason you can't do this at home. You know, we're using these suede applicators. They're auto fiber. We sell them in store and online. You really can use any coating sponge. They have plastic barriers through them, so it doesn't allow the coating to seep through and start getting on your other side of your hand. And we use nitrile gloves, so we're not transferring our oils and our greases into the fiberglass. And especially after we surface prepped, and we use them while we're surface prepping. That way we're not introducing any foreign greases in there. But there's been a lot of boats, and especially personal boats of mine, that I'm like, what happens if you don't, you know, wear gloves? What happens if you put too much on there? What happens, you know, all that stuff. And we did all that, and I haven't had any issues. Now, a covalent bond over time, long lifespans, I haven't really noticed any differences either. So, but still, just if you're going to do a semi-permanent coating process like this, something that's going to last this long on the surface, you know, it's best to just do it right, you know. But again, if something gets in there or you were to miss an area, it's not that hard. Say a spot were to stay on the boat, you can always come back with some polish within 24 hours. And usually 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, you can just knock it back down. But after about, you know, 24 to 48, like 72 hours, the boat's fully cured. Fully cured mean like it's next to diamonds on the mineral scale. This product's very, very strong. So that's the same thing that's going to happen to your applicators. It's going to happen to your towels. So that's another reason why this is a once and done kind of use. Obviously, we're going to continue to do the haul with it, but we know why it's going to be trash, because it's going to have just glass shards on there, and it's actually going to become stronger. It's going to become a little brick. And that's what's happening to the boat right now, too, while it's curing. It's actually getting stronger. So, and it's getting glossier. It's getting heat-resistant properties, chemical-resistant properties, as far as like, you go to the gas dock, drip a little bit of gas down here, it's not going to be able to eat it off. Your traditional polymer sealant, no way, that gas is taking it right off. Maybe not, but you know, I think it would. But the ceramic, you definitely have a better chance with the chemical resistancy. Just washing it too, minimal maintenance. You're really just looking for soft mitts and really just do the whole thing by hand if you can. If you got a bigger boat, you're going to use a brush, but you're going to want to put a Chanel mitt cover over, just like a microfiber mitt cover, a doodle bug cover they call them, and that'll really like wash the surface and it'll be soft on it. So I'm going to use pH neutral soaps. But after this coating is completely set up, about after 24 hours they're ready for the water. But 72 hours they're like fully coated. But that's the time I would, put in there. 24 hours is the least amount of time I would put before I splash them. But I haven't seen any problems with that. Down in Southwest Florida, we coat with it, and it rains every day there, unfortunately, in the wintertime. So it's one of those things where we can't get around it. We've had our boats get rained on during coating, and we haven't had any problems. We just stop and then we start the job back up when it stops raining. So temperature, again, you want to be above 48, 50 degrees. Anything above there, you're really good to go. Now that's going to make your time obviously longer while it be your setup time. So that's going to increase it to 7 minutes instead of the 5 that you're used to. So because it's not the 70 degrees or 68 you're used to, or climate controlled building we're in, right? So, but doesn't mean you can't coat outside. And it's not like painting where you think you're going to get contaminants all over it. After you surface prep it, just go ahead and coat it. It's by the time you get done overthinking everything, you could have the boat coated. So it's really not as hard as everybody. Not saying everybody makes it out to be hard, but I see a lot of posts and a lot of hesitation about putting ceramic on. And again, we've got a lot more comfortable going over the years and a lot more boats underneath our belt. But most of my do-it-yourselfers are ceramicing just at their homes, at their marinas, and again, I never really got to make an updated video for this coating, so I wanted to put one on for this. So say we've came through, we've did this section now, and we'll say the whole boat has had the first coat, right? We want to put our second coat on that. Our second coat, and this is optional, you don't have to do that, but I like to put 2 coats because it would have to get through the first coat to enter the second coat. So you're kind of just putting an insurance barrier layer there for yourself. And there's a lot of peaks and valleys in gel coats. So when you put your first layer of coating in, once it starts rejecting, you have all your peaks and valleys covered, on your first coat. But it's one of those things, if you could put that second multi-barrier layer on top of there, for sun, resistance, weathering, washing, just all those elements, like, I'm all about that, and you've already did all the prep work, you've already did everything. This second coat actually takes less product, so it's really easy to use. Sometimes you have to reduce your time down on the second coat to a little bit less time. You'll see it will suck in the product a lot less. And want to be wiped off quicker because it'll want to reject itself because it's sitting on a layer of already almost cured glass at that point. So it's one of those where, but a good dwell times are nice. And so after 24 hours, this thing's completely had 2 coats been done on it. 24 hours has went by. Then I would go ahead and use Starke Replenish. Starke Replenish is our silica spray. And that's the first part, or that's the last part of the process. So you're going to go ahead and wipe that on, and then wipe that off. And you're just doing that with a microfiber towel again. And that's a silica booster, so that's going to be a product you're also going to use in maintenance too. You're going to use that once a month. You're going to spray that on the smooth surfaces after it's been washed, and it's nice and clean and cool outside. So you don't want your surface hot when you put Replenish on because it could streak it. So you always want to do it in the mornings and the evenings. And then again, soft mitts, pH neutral boat soap of any kind, but Starke's got a really good one. Any coating company you're using, just try to stick with their brands. So usually their chemist really has everything work together. But again, I've used different polishes with different coatings and different applicators, and there's really no wrong or right. I mean, there's a million ways to do everything. So, but this is just how I've learned how to do it over the years, and we've had no failure rate. It's good. The only failure rate we've had are on jobs where, you know, the customer just insisted we don't sand it, he didn't want to sand it, and we were both under the understanding of it could come back. So something like this, we've grinded it out, sanded it out, compounded it out, polished it out, did all that, those steps to it to, you know, ensure that this coating is going to last on there. So if you put, your coating's only as good as the surface you put it on. That's the best way I can put it. So prepping and taping and everything, and Mr. Petty spending all the time he did here, you know, you could see this is where you really get to reap your rewards, and you even get to reap them more when you're sitting at the dock looking at your shiny boat, you know, and saying I did that. So, but again, I hope you gathered some stuff from the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a message or send us an email or shoot us a call. Hey, thank you so much. All right, bye.